Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of the Vinnie Eastwood Show. You know what occurs to me, ladies and gentlemen, is I need to repeat, and be angry in order to get more listeners. No, seriously. You have a look at every single really popular talk radio show host that's in this movement. They repeat themselves all the time, and they're all really angry. I'm never going to be popular. I've come to terms with that today, because I like to have fun and laugh in the face of utter scumbaggery. As does my very special guest, the indomitable, the intractable, and the incomparable, Susanne Posel from Occupy Corporatism. Welcome back to the show.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Now, we're only going to have you for one segment here, then we're going to get to our guest for today. So, what is the news today from Occupy Corporatism?
Well, H.R. 748 here in the United States requires all young Americans to enlist in a national service program. Yay, communism! House Representative Charles Rangel has introduced H.R. 748. Now, just to be fair, he does repeatedly introduce bills like this. This would require all persons between the ages of 18 and 25 to perform national service, either federal, state, or local government programs, community-based agencies, or community-based entities. And this would be that wonderful little national program for the civilian army that our communist-in-chief, Barack Obama, wanted back in 2009.
Go on.
Well, if you remember, FDR had the Civilian Conservation Corps, and some of the things that we could be looking forward to under the oversight of the Corporation for National and Community Service, to make sure that all Americans participate by 2016. We could see the expansion of national service programs to public schools to coerce younger generations to serve their community as part of national patriotism. Create an education corps to oversee public schools and encourage national service. Devise a summer of service program to engage youth in participating in national service events and keep them nationalized. Enroll all participants in a government-sponsored health insurance program to assist in healthcare with professionals and caseworkers in servicing their communities. Revive FDR's Civilian Conservation Corps under a Green Corps initiative to improve infrastructure and combat climate change as a national issue. Create a Rapid Response Corps to assist the National Guard during disasters regarding preparedness and emergencies with FEMA's help, and create a National Service Academy that would educate American youth on Federalist ideals with a focus on expanding the philosophy that national service is a national problem, a national issue, and we all need to have a sense of...
Whoa. National service is a national problem and a national issue. Just like human issues are human problems and human issues. I mean,
exactly.
It's a circular argument because it's a circular argument.
Well, they want to make sure that communitarianism is the point. And if you serve your country when you're able-bodied between 18 and 25, then you are patriotic.
Okay, so if you go out there and you create a business and you wind up employing people and you help out your community through donations or community charity trusts and things of that nature, that's not good. But if you join some kind of a modern day Hitler Youth, that is good.
Yes, exactly. Well, we're trying. Barack Obama's trying to have a communist dictatorship, a fascist regime here.
The Obama Youth. I can hear the goose stepping now.
Now, last year, the FEMA Corps released 231 graduates that works in community relations and disaster recovery all across the nation. They also work to educate local communities for the sake of public-private partnerships to network and structure those communities to serve the needs of the federal government. So we've got our own little guys out there, those little feelers, telling everybody what to do, and the government's good.
You know, I heard this on a broadcast a while back that these little green Nazi youth kind of thing, like walking around slashing people's tires that have SUVs or something like that, or busting out the windows of companies that they don't like, that they perceive are really bad for the climate and things like that. Just this little jackbooted thug brigade, really, just going around bossing everybody around. With are they going to be armed?
I assume that they would be armed. They do have training exercises. In fact, DHS, when they ordered those 240 rounds of hollow point bullets, which was not 21.6 million, they went to a training center that there's actually 5 of them across the nation here. And it's DHS training all of the police officers how to shoot actual military grade weaponry and kill people. So I assume that they would also be using some sort of target practice.
Right. Who's the target then?
Well, DHS has been buying targets of pregnant women and children and elderly, so I guess there you go.
Okay. That's understandable. If I was a psychopathic murdering scumbag.
Right.
Oh, no. Oh, man, this is really bad news. Is anybody out there trying to perhaps, I know, start up a counter movement to this, like the National Volunteer Youth or something like that, where they go out kind of like as gangs, like in West Side Story, you know, we're going to have a fight in a.
I would love to see that. No, I don't think so, but that would make for great 6 o'clock news. Somebody do that, please.
Some kind of a really cheesy gang warfare style thing, you know, it would be fantastic. Or somebody like the like Bill Hicks's references hooligans, you know, wearing penny loafers with no socks.
Or they could wear shorts with like knee socks with the stripes on them.
You know, we're really just making fun of this whole situation, and this is what comes up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, be afraid, be very afraid. Buy my DVDs and survival food products and water filters and such. Okay, there we go. There's a much better way of doing it. Okay. I don't know how to actually present serious information anymore, because I've made I don't know, Suzanne, I think I've just kind of made myself immune to the fear for some reason. Maybe it's a bad idea. Maybe I should be very afraid, very, very afraid, and stop thinking and start talking in a very deep, raspy voice.
No, I think I agree with you. I do that on my show. This is so ridiculous. They become a cartoon of themselves. Come on, people. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, but if we
have a good time.
Yeah, but if we masquerade it as ridiculous and we're having a laugh about it, then people might not take it seriously. This is deadly freaking serious. We could literally be exterminated in the streets by these thugs wearing little jackets.
That's true. But that's why not only do we inform ourselves, but then we take the next step, which is what you and I talk about all the time. Do something about this. Act upon it. Get the information and do something.
Okay. So we're fulfilling our role, which is to provide the information. It's not our responsibility to do something about it or provide solutions, really, is it? We're just the media. We've got to keep, feeding out more stuff every day. This is why media reporters and everything are just airheads and douchebags, because they never actually apply any of the stuff that they do. In this movement, on the other hand, we are so overwhelmed by the amount of scumbaggery coming in over the clickers and news wires and what have you, that we literally can't do anything. It's not that we don't want to. It's that we've got more news and more stuff to put out even after we put out this bunch of news and information here. And it's you, the people listening to this broadcast, that actually need to get the frack out there and do something about it. Okay? If you have a spare 30 minutes in your day, frick, we don't. You've got to get the hell out there and do something, man. Right now.
Well, that's why you and I put together the Real Guerrilla Media, because we have a section for activists and event planners. And if there's somebody in your city or your town and you want to make sure that your event has some, foothold on it, there's the Day of Resistance over here in the United States and Guns Across America. The two gentlemen independently just got a hold of a bunch of people who are pro-gun and rallies all across the country at the state capitol. Hundreds of thousands of people showed up all across the country in a matter of days. And these are regular people. And that's one of the things we want to do with guerrilla media. We want to give you a place to get to network with people and get your event covered so that people will show up and people will actually do something about their world. Change it.
I don't know. I'm just getting really freaked out and angry. I don't know. I'm feeling really tense lately and really frustrated. And I haven't felt this way in a lot of years. Oh God, Susan, it's all getting too much. It's all getting too much.
Well, should I go on to my next story?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Copyright alert system. This article is going viral. Please pick it up and pass it along. Everyone is affected. If you use the internet on any device, you are affected by this. ISPs now control user access to content on the internet. This week, the Center of Copyright Information will launch the Six Strikes Copyright Alert System, and major participants are AT&T, Cablevision, Comcast, Time Warner, and Verizon, and other people. The Internet Service Providers, your ISP, will collaborate to monitor the internet for users who download copyrighted material from websites like BitTorrent. But this is not just for people who use BitTorrent and Pirate Bay and things like that. If you go to a website that has copyrighted material, they will give you a warning, and then they will give you a warning that you have to sign off on. And then if you go a third time, you're blocked. The ISP will literally block you from websites. So you will not be allowed to free flow surf the internet anymore.
This has already been passed and done in New Zealand. We've got the copyright bill here, and it's not 6 times, it's thrice. 3 violations, and the ISP is commanded by the dictatorial, wonderful government of New Zealand to block your internet account, cut you off from the internet entirely, not just block you from websites and things like that, so you can still use Skype or whatever, but to block you entirely, to cut off your internet connection.
That's what they're moving toward.
Yeah.
And we've got a cybersecurity executive order here, but what's interesting is, and this is where local activism comes in, guys. They're doing this through the corporations. They're going to the local levels. They're going to the state level and the municipalities to pass along these things, these controls. They've passed this along to the corporations. So now your ISP is now monitoring you. And if you don't do what they say you should be doing on the internet, they're going to block you. So it's not. So then the government can wash their hands and say, "Oh, we didn't do this. Verizon did it to you." But really, Verizon is taking their direction from what the government is already putting together, and they're just getting this mandate disseminated down, and they're just the guys who are implementing the controls.
What's the difference between communism and fascism? Is it that in communism the state takes over the corporations, and in fascism the corporations take over the state? The end result is exactly the same. That's what's going on here.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
And so this is serious. I mean, at least here in the United States, you could go to a website and not realize that they have something that's copyrighted and they don't have permission to use it. And you're completely innocent. You're just visiting a website. And then you get an email from your ISP. And then you get another warning where you have to put in a CAPTCHA so that they know that you got it. And then when you come back there a third time, bam, you're gone. And then you wake up in the morning and you can't access all these websites. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Ooh, man. So that means... Well, let me see if I can encapsulate this. I think every single person that goes into this kind of information that we talk about on a day-to-day basis goes to those kind of websites. Every single one. Views copyright material of this, that, and the other. So this is going to be something that's arbitrary, which will catch the good with the bad. That is, I think, maybe, theoretically, designed to cut off the head of the truth movement.
That is a very good point. Absolutely. Because we pass along information all the time. You know, you watch something on YouTube and you like it and then you share it on Facebook. And you're not thinking about copyright. You just want people to watch this documentary. And it might be a documentary from the BBC or some other, it might not be just an independent film. It might be something that has copyright involved. And that person who copyrighted it might not care whether or not the information is disseminated. But because it's copyrighted, that's outside of their jurisdiction. The individual person is no longer relevant. That little copyright, that little piece of paper that they signed electronically or physically now becomes the dictator of whether or not that information is disseminated out.
Okay. Well, it's something bad. It's something terrible. It's something horrible. And that's what we've come to expect from the United States government and its legislators. Isn't that right, Susanne? Is you cannot look at anything that the US government in Congress, the Senate, or the El Presidente himself as doing anything good. And I don't think they've done anything good for quite some time. And that's the terrifying thing, is that we have not yet gotten these people, these psychotic murdering filth, who are liars and cheats and swine, out of power. Dictatorial power, that is.
Yes.
Susanne, thank you very much for coming on and sharing with us this terrifying and scary frickin' news today. I feel so much better. Frickin' wench. We'll be right back after the break, ladies and gentlemen, at the VinnyEastwoodShow.com. Donald Marshall talking about Illuminati cloning programs. This should be interesting. Back in a minute. Thank you, Suzanne. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the show that's all about con artists parroting puppet playboy scum on top. It's the Vinny Eastwood Show. It's the lighter side of genocide, because in a world so full of chaos and madness, if you lose your sense of humour, you'll go frickin' nuts. It's the show that goes where others fear to tread, where we talk about those things that everybody knows about, allegedly knows about, the things that will scare the living William Shatner out of you, and also some very, very weird and spooky, strange things indeed that you may not even believe had you not looked at the evidence yourself. Today, a very special guest indeed. I think he sounds like he's got a Canadian accent of some kind. It's Donald Marshall. Welcome to the program.
Hello, thanks.
Why don't you tell us just a little bit of background about yourself for those who are unaware?
Well,
have you got a website of some kind?
Just the Facebook. Oh, I have a site about these lizards, vril lizards. Think vril lizards at webs.coms. It's about those reptilian shapeshifters that David Icke talks about. He's kind of got the story wrong. They're not dimensional at all. They're this dimension. And yeah, they're not spiritual, mystical, or anything. It's pretty sick. But I'll tell you about that in a second. First, I wanted to tell you about the cloning stuff, okay? Now, human cloning, I have to tell you, it's been done since at the end of World War II, okay? I'll tell you how they got it, and the whole shebang, like 33rd degree Freemason knowledge. I'm probably going to die for this somewhere along the lines. It's not good. Okay. Picture this. I'm memory repressed about everything. Couldn't remember anything. I'm still getting side effects from this. I was memory repressed about the cloning stuff until I was 30 years old. They call it the awakening when they give you back the memories. Turns out they had me there since I was 5 years old, okay? And my family is there, my family members and everything. And they said they're not going to lie on a lie detector test about it. It's pretty big. Like, they were going to kill me, they said. Thing is, the way that this cloning works, okay, there's two different kinds of cloning, and it confuses people. Now, there's replication cloning, where it comes up as a baby, right? Put the cells in, make the same person as a baby. Well, there's duplication cloning as well, where they grow you in a big, thick tank full of water. And, well, there's a few different grades of cloning. There's Mark 1 to 4 that I know of. And the problem I'm having is with the Mark 2. Thing is, Mark 1 was around at the end of the World War II, but it was a primitive clone, lots of side effects.
Is that a reference to Merck Pharmaceuticals?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, this is even on the net. Before I started blasting on the net about this, somebody said something about the Mark 1 to 4 clones, and the first one being called the organic robotoid. And that's what it was called, even though there's no robotic parts in it at all. Anyway, Mark II is an REM-driven clone. Okay, now what that means is when you go to sleep, the Illuminati, this is their main form of communication too. They don't call people on the phone. They don't meet at the Bohemian Grove anymore. Since they got cloning, they meet at the cloning station when they go to sleep. Each of them, I don't know how they do it exactly, okay, or else I'd know how to block it. But they can transfer your consciousness into a clone at the cloning station if they have a clone of you. And they used to have to use a tissue sample from you, or I guess they said the cells from a woman's pap smear is like really rich in the cells to make one of these duplicate clones. They used to use kids' foreskins that were discarded at the hospital that got removed. That's what happened to me. But now they said they've upgraded the technology in the last 10 years, so now they only need blood. What they used to do with the tissue, well, they could also, they used to set this little oil drill looking thing over a person's forearm, strap their arm to a chair. And this drill, it had things on it that opened up, right? Now, it would go in, and when it spun, these things would open up. But then when it stopped, the things would close again. Now, this is done, it goes in, comes out, in, comes out. And what it was doing, it has to agitate the tissue, they told me when I was a kid, to a certain degree. I guess, like they said, the easiest way to tell a person in layman's terms about it is, you know, when you have a hangnail and you pull it off, and the white stuff that accumulates inside, and eventually it'll form like a scab and new skin, and it'll grow over. Well, to get that white stuff to really work good, they agitate the tissue a certain amount of times. Now they just agitate blood from like a blood sample even. And yeah, cloning is very prevalent. It's like a secret thing among the like elite. They use it for their crazy stuff. You name it, they've done it. Like jump off cliffs, everything. I know all about it. The thing was, when I was memory repressed, I was seeing other people becoming unmemory repressed, and I hated this place and these people. It's a bunch of scumbags doing nasty things to each other, right? Like, there's privileged ones there, and there's underprivileged ones there, and so people are pretty mean on people. And well, I wanted them to do the awakening on me, so I could go to the cops and get the cops on them. Well, the thing is, they are the cops too. Like, this is the linchpin in how the Illuminati NWO works, because like most of the leaders from the G20 countries go there, about 14 of the G20 countries, and then there's leaders from countries that don't even fit in the G20 that go there too, right? And cloning, it's really normal. Well, Britney Spears made a video about this place, because thing was, to get advertised and promoted and stuff, she had to basically sell her clone, use of her clone at the cloning center. So the thing was, she signed up right away thinking, yeah, sure, I'll be famous. Well, the thing is, they wanted to use her every night. Old men and stuff, old men and clones on her, and real people on her clones too. So she doesn't have dreams anymore. Oh, they make songs and stuff about this all the time, about stuck in the dreams, and Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street is based on this. Avatar is based on this too. They do it all the time, communicate this way. But the thing is, cloning is a flawed technology this way, because your mind isn't the same. You're more. It's kind of like, you know, how, did you ever see Pet Sematary by Stephen King, the movie?
Yeah.
Where they bury it and they come back whack. Well, they're almost as bad as that, and this is only one aspect of what they do. This is the biggest expose on the Illuminati guys ever, what they do secret, right? Because the thing being, how I know is because I acted very loyal to them when in my 20s, right? Well, the thing was, if you don't act compliant there, they will beat the hell out of your clone, and it hurts just like real life. Right? Like, and they can turn it up to the pain threshold on a remote control. They have everything down, and people are scared to talk about this because of the lizard aspect and the fact they can just keep cloning you and torturing you and torturing you and torturing you. New body, new body, new body, because they make multiples of people. Some people are grown in the tank with deformities, and they just scrap those ones, throw them in the chipper. But the other ones, they keep them for backup bodies until they wear out the first one. Sex-wise, you know, I'm not trying to be vulgar or anything, but they do a lot of vulgar stuff there. They can also, if they apply a constant electronic current to your clone, you will have an aneurysm. If you're younger, it'll take a little bit longer with the electric current, but you will have an aneurysm. That's what happened to Tila Tequila. She doesn't want to say that, though. The thing is, Tila Tequila was threatened not to talk about it. She was helping me for a minute. Are you familiar with Tila Tequila?
I've had her on the show, and in fact, I was just discussing her this morning with James Wright, who's exposing the Freemasons, and he said that he wanted to meet up with her and compare war stories and stuff like that, so I just introduced them this morning, as it turns out.
Well, Tila has a clone running at the Clone Center, and she has to, well, she pretty much sold it out for her shot at love thing. She doesn't want me to discuss the nefarious deeds that she's done at the cloning station, including to me, and, well, and I'm not really going to, because that's her business and all right, but well, I might discuss the stuff she did to me at a later date, a different show or something. It doesn't really matter right now. I'm trying to stick to the important stuff. But she's there. She's making like hinty little posts about her, she bounces to the fifth dimension. She used to think it was the fifth dimension. Should they tell people this, right? Because you open up your eyes there. You're like, where the hell am I? And you look at your hands, you're like, did you guys kidnap me? That's what most people say. Am I kidnapped or something? How did I get here? Some people are drugged, so they think that it's a dream, or they're in the astral realm. That's what they tell people, right? The spirit realm depends on who you are, where you're from. That's what they tell you, and people just believe it because it's like real, right? Slap them in the face, it hurts, and you don't wake up, so it's not a dream, and man, it's not good. So anyway, I wanted to not attend these clone gatherings, and they were like, "We'll bring you here if we want to." I was like, all right, well, I'll tell all on you. And I'm doing it on my Facebook page. I don't have the link up here, but you're on my Facebook page somewhere, I think. So I don't know if you have the link to show people or not, but yeah, I'm telling all about them, what they do there, and there's other stuff. Now, they have these clone parties, okay? And also they get, I'll just tell you flat out, because they showed me, they call it the catalog. They get the school pictures from schools all over North America, and they look at the cutest ones, and they get the medical stuff from them and clone them and use them for sex slaves. Not without the parents' permission, and it doesn't really matter if they had permission or not, right? You know. But this is what they do. I'm just telling you the severity of what they do there, right? Like, trust me, I am not a crackpot. Like, and I don't get anything from this. I'm not writing a book or looking to write a book. I'm looking to crush these people. But the problem is they're the richest and most powerful people in the world, and I'm just one person, right? So
you said that they've got a facility. Do you know where that facility is? Is there an address or a building? Or?
Yes. They're in deep bases, right? Like there's a Dulce base. It has an entire floor devoted to cloning, okay? Now, it also has another floor devoted to gene splicing. You should see some of the stuff I've seen. Beaver, rats, and all kinds of stuff. They're trying to make weapons for war, and they showed me everything. They thought I was loyal. They started showing me everything. They totally thought I was loyal. Like, my ex-family will not speak to me now. I said, I'm going to expose this. You guys are going to help me. And they said, we're not going to help you. We'll get killed right along with you. And I said, well, I'm going to do it alone. And they said, don't ask us for help. And I said, I'm sending people to you with lie detector tests. Lie on it and go to jail. And then they're looking around as clones saying, we don't want to lie on a lie detector test, right? I said, well, I'm welcoming all lie detector tests. And we're going to lie it up, we're going to line it up these lie detector tests, and everything's going to get proven.
So have you
Now,
taken a lie detector test yet?
Not yet. No, I haven't had one available. But the thing is, it's so widespread. The corruption stuff. It's even bigger than what you truthers think that it is. It's they have police and doctors and everything there loyal so that they can have clone sex with like a Britney Spears or an Angelica Jolie or something, and while they're sleeping, because they're like, what are we doing when we're sleeping? It's a big waste of time. We can go there and have lots of fun. So, but it's a terrible, diabolical, nefarious place. I've seen all kinds of stuff. Oh, the Picton murders up in Canada, with that guy that killed all the hookers. That was set up by them. They videotaped all the murders. They used to clone Picton into the place and had him running around talking to him, and he felt like he was like a celebrity, right? Anyway, he used to smash them with a ball-peen hammer. Now, I'll tell you who was there, and this is how I know everything, okay? When I was 5, they brought me there to be used as what they call a diddle kid, okay? But all I'd do was cry and stuff. So they said, do you have any other kind of use? Do you sing or dance or something? So anyway, when I was 5, to keep them off me, I started singing like original songs there, just right out of the blue. Turns out the first one, people liked it, and they had a famous person use it, and then they came back for more, and I made more, and other people came back wanting to hear more. It was just a kid that was making these songs, right, for free, because they never paid me. Nobody knew, right? Totally foolproof. So anyway, lots of people, famous, high-profile people went there. I'm kind of apprehensive to say even, well, the people that know me know who I'm talking about, but they're the highest profile people go to these cloning centers, and they wanted to see this kid that was making these songs, right? So I met the highest up people, and then they wanted to show me all the stuff that they had to impress me. Are you going to commercial?
We are. Donald
right.
Marshall is my guest, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be right back after the break at the VinnyEastwoodShow.com. Back in just a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vinny Eastwood Show on AmericanFreedomRadio.com 5 days a week. My guest today is Donald Marshall, talking about the Illuminati cloning programs. Now, is there anybody else who's turned whistleblower like you have to come out and talk about these programs?
Well, Tila Tequila started to come out and talk about them. She went on her radio blog show, she said, in the cloning centers and the things you guys do to children. But the thing is, well, they told her at the cloning center not to do it, not to help me, because they're trying to play me off as a joke that people will spoof it or make fun and say, oh, they're cloning people. They don't have that technology yet. Well, they really do. And the thing was, they threatened her after that radio show to discredit herself immensely, or else she'll suffer repercussions at the cloning center. And she was pretty scared there. So then she starts talking about she's quantum hopping and going to different dimensions and this and that. Well, the thing was, back when she didn't know that she was a clone, she thought she was going to the 5th dimension. This is what they told her. Okay. Now, before her aneurysm, which was caused by them, I'll tell you right now all about it. You won't hear this from anybody else because they're all scared of dying, but they're not going to kill me because I'll tell you why later, and it's crazy. It's ridiculous. Anyways, she goes on a video somewhere and says, somebody help me. They're blasting me to the 5th dimension somehow, and Queen Elizabeth is there, and she eats people. No, she said the Queen of England is there, and she eats people. And there's lizards there. No, she said demons. Well, some people call them demons. They call themselves demons, too. Well, then there's demons there, and they listened to her. Well, nobody listened to her, and they gave her aneurysm there. Well, the thing is, they could have made her die if they wanted to. They just keep the electricity to the clone. They could do it to me, like, at any time. But I told too many people, and they're all waiting to see if I have an aneurysm now. Or a heart attack, which it can happen to. They've done this to so many people. It's remote controlled execution, like assassination, that's undetectable, right? As long as they have a clone of you, they can kill you, like a bang. And they killed Bernie Mac this way with an aneurysm. It's not good. they don't only have to do the electricity. If they keep a constant pain on the clone, like hard enough, like it'll kill you. But intermittent pain will mess up your heart bed. That's what they've done to me. They tortured me there for like a torture spectacle, right? If you look, I should have had it on my miniature tablet here, but I forgot to. My Facebook profile picture. Okay, just look at it, and you're gonna say, okay, something weird is happening here. I'm on a Megadeth album cover, all cut up. It's like a picture of a clone of me, all messed up with a skeleton coming out of my chest and Megadeth up at the top. Well, anyway, it's a close-up of my face, and people look at that and they say, okay, now I got to look into this. And trust me, I'm telling you, the biggest secrets of the
Holy
Illuminati.
cow, it is your face.
Yeah, it is kind of, yeah. Not kind of at all, it is me. I was asking, well, I'll just tell you, Queen Elizabeth got really interested in this magic kid that could make these songs out of thin air. So she had me serenading her because she thinks she's really special. She's pretty insane, by the way, by 5 different ways. She rules this cloning station, basically. Her and Vladimir Putin. All of them are there. Muammar Gaddafi was there. He's not actually dead, by the way. That was a clone of him that died. And all the people around him jostling the camera, the video, the phone video. They were all in on it. He's not dead. That was a clone that they killed. That's why they buried his body in a remote location nobody will ever find, because it's a clone, and the cells are different and stuff, I guess. Like they're grown in 5 months in a big glass tank full of like salty water, and just takes 5 months. And it's no cost at all. It's basically maintenance. They just got to get tissue from you. Now, Britney Spears put in her video. She said a fantasy of hers was to blow up a cloning station so they couldn't make any more hers, right? So for this video called Break the Ice, she made a Japanimation video of her breaking into a cloning station and breaking the clone tubes. And they look just like that, right? And 2 on 2, like one on top of each other. They have warehouses underground with them growing people, right? And, oh man, it's very heavy. There's another aspect to this. It's the lizard part. Now, I'll tell you the straight skinny on the lizards, okay? Now I have to tell you about Tila now. Tila first, because, well, she was on my wall, and I was like, you're going to help me with this, and then she goes on radio, the cloning center's terrible, what you do with the people there, and people don't want to go there, and then after that, everything changed, because that night when she went to sleep, won't say Freddy got her, but pretty much the world leaders put the scare of death into her, and a whole bunch of lizards did too, because they know that I want all the lizards dead, and all of the, now I'll just say it flat out, all of the lizard parasited hosts as well. Now I have to put this eloquently, because they said that this is the end of the world event. This is the big bomb that could send the world into panic and loss of order, and what the end of the world 2012 and everything is all about. Well, it's about lizards and cloning. And I'll tell you all about it right now. Something has to be done. These people are like over corrupt. I don't know if there's a word for it in the English language. They bring people to the cloning station and enslave them and have the option of allowing them to remember the memory. If they leave you if they leave you memory repressed, it will give you symptoms in real life, and you'll just think that you're sick. You won't know. It depends on what they do to you as a clone. If they're torturing you, you'll get badly sick. You'll get heart damage. Like my heart's messed up, and I'm only 37. Just turned 37, and yeah, they strap you to a rack and freaking slice you and everything, and people sit around in a crowd watching you in this big, well, not big, it's a stadium, and it has a hockey boarded ring, but it's smaller than a normal hockey rink, and the celebrities and kings and queens from weird countries are all there sitting in the stands watching this weird faces of death scenario thing. Made people sword fight. They made me sword fight there. I got all chopped up as a clone. And the thing is, they can have multiple clones of you, right? Now, they got chips in these clones too, so they turn you into the next clone, like within a matter of like 30 seconds. like deactivate one clone and can go over to this one and click it on. And I've experienced it. It's everything goes black. You don't have dreams anymore. Some of the celebrities make songs. I've made songs for them there about not having dreams anymore, and your dreams are lost, and blah blah blah. Your heart this, heart that. Like I made a lot of songs there.
Can I ask, Donald, how do you know that you're the real you?
Scars and clones. Well, these duplication clones can't walk around in public without what they call a handler. They have to be babysat so that they don't bite someone on the face or start a fire in a house, or they're like they go with the first impulse.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the episode of Family Guy where Stewie clones himself, but he doesn't do the cloning job right, and he creates what's known as bitch Stewie, who's really retarded kind of thing. Is that sort of what we're talking about here?
It could be. They make that cartoon. They make The Simpsons. They make all the movies and stuff. They made the Avatar movie. They own Hollywood, right? So, and they get their ideas. They all discuss stuff at the cloning station like all night. It gets pretty boring there because first, once they do the sex, and then they do death stuff to themselves because they can turn. Somehow they have the tech to make the clone not feel any pain at all. They said it's something to do with how a person becomes a quadriplegic. Just the first second before they're quadriplegic, they can't feel any pain, stabbing in the thigh or anything, just like a quadriplegic can. Well, but they can still move around and stuff. They've done it to me. It feels weird. Like they let me stab myself in the forearm and go yick, 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 right up the arm. It didn't feel anything, and it's bleeding and stuff. It's pretty gross and all kinds of stuff there. There's nothing to do there though once you do all the stuff and the novelty wears off. But then you're not allowed to leave. If you want to leave, well, they only keep you if you're used for something. Well, good looking for sex or something, or have some kind of talent or something. And if you try to talk, you say, oh, they say people that think they're in the fifth dimension or the astral plane or something, they'll go to the police and say, the world leaders are taking me to the fifth dimension or the astral plane and victimizing me, torturing me, like Chris Benoit as well. They killed him. Well, he killed himself, but the thing was, they were torturing the hell out of him. Like Insane Clown Posse had a song made about him, and I actually did the lyrics for the song. They made me do it because I didn't want to, because I liked Chris Benoit. Thing was, they had his wife and his kid there, and they started hurting them too. And they were home throwing up and stuff, and he was trying to go to the police, and they wouldn't. Are you going to commercial again today?
Yeah, we are. We've still got another 30 seconds or so to wrap up your point if you want.
Yeah, he tried to go to the cops. They sent him to the mental institution, and kind of like Tila said, he said, Queen Elizabeth is blasting me into another dimension, and she's torturing me there and forcing me to have sex with her and stuff. He said this to his therapist. This is like public knowledge now, though. And he was like, oh yeah, here, take these pills. And he's like, no, really, they're taking me to some place when I sleep. It's like, it's bad, man.
You know, it sounds sort of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They get you while you sleep.
Well, there's something like that I'm going to tell you about. That's
we'll be right back.
What the lizards do with it.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, in just a few minutes with Donald Marshall. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to hour number 2 of the fastest 2 hours in talk radio. It's the Vinnie Eastwood Show, broadcasting live 5 days a week on AmericanFreedomRadio.com from the fabulously fluoridated capital of Auckland, New Zealand, the island-chained nation in the sunny slave South Pacific. It's borderlining on Fukushima irradiation down here, but it's good for the economy because everybody's got a part-time job as an incandescent light bulb. My very special guest is Donald Marshall for the remainder of this hour. Donald, welcome back. You're going to talk to us about the reptiles. And speaking of which, the reptilian conspiracy, this is the conspiracy that is used to demonize anybody. Like, I remember I was talking to a bunch of communists, right, about the 2 types of fluoride, you know, calcium fluoride, which actually is natural and not that bad for your teeth, and sodium fluoride, which is unnatural and comes from the phosphate fertilizer industry. And then straight off the bat, they said, oh, you're going to be talking about shape-shifting reptiles next.
Well, they're not shape-shifting. The thing is, I'm going to tell you what the shape-shift is, and it's really creepy. And this is the thing that they said that could wipe the world. people panicking with the riots and stuff, because the cloning thing, people cloning people's kids, messing them up in the brain is bad enough. Remotely killing people who they don't like, which might happen to me, you never know. Thing is, the lizards. Okay, lizards been around a long time, like since before ancient Egypt and everything. And the symbol, you know, that eye, the eye of Horus with the squiggly hanging out of it,
Yeah.
that has to do with lizards. It's a lizard symbol. It means two things. It's a pro-lizard symbol, and it also means beware, there's lizards here. Okay, there's 3 different kinds of lizards. I'll tell you all about them. They're called vril. The thing is, I'm not sure if it's 1 L or 2 at the end. It's vril, V-R-I-L-L or V-R-I-L. Germans were into them. They had a club with vril things. Anyway, there's like a 1 to 1.5 foot tall one. That's the vril type 1. It's got scales, red scales. There's a type 2 that is not parasitic, but it's still vicious, nasty, carnivorous. They're all carnivorous. And there's a type 3 that's 8 feet tall that has a real long neck and looks like a gray alien, but it comes from deep underground, like below deep base deep. Like they need a methane oxygen mix to breathe, and deep underground they got sulfur pools, I guess, that make this stuff. Anyway, they come up underneath the domed bases. The government is complicit with them, basically. Now I have to tell you about the parasitic aspect of the lizards and why the Illuminati and the governments use them, okay? I'm saying this in a nutshell because it's very important. I want to get it all out on your show. Nobody's going to say this for fear of clone torture, remote-controlled death, or death by lizards 1,000 times until you die by a heart attack or something. But I figured I have to tell people because, well, they're getting me there anyway. Like, they eased up lately asking me not to talk about it anymore, but I'm just going to. Well, the lizards have a thing, okay? They have what's called a proboscis. There's lizards out there today that have a proboscis on their face, okay? These things got it in the middle of their head, okay? And on the top of their head, this is the vril type 1 and 2. The type 2 have a proboscis sheath that comes out, it sticks out. The type 1s, for instance, it's like a chocolate chip, it looks like, basically the tip of it. Now, at one point in these things' lives, because they have a long lifespan, the lizard species, one point in their life, they can slowly wiggle this thing out, eject it, and it goes into somebody's eyeball, okay, another animal. Now, it wiggles in by the sense of taste. They described this to me so, like, when I was like 18 years old there, and told me about it different times throughout the years of going there. They can bring you there every single night if they want to, and they did bring me there every night. They laughed at me when I said I was going to tell the world about this. They said, nobody's ever going to believe me. You won't put it together in a eloquent way. People will think that technology isn't that advanced yet with cloning, because they just clone the sheep, right? No. They've been cloning people a long time this way. Thing is, the lizard, okay, the thing squiggles in through the eye. It does a spiral around the optic nerve all the way to a certain point, and it's driven there by taste. And they said once it gets there, it has the taste of butterscotch, and then it does a feeling like holding your breath and going, pushing outwards. And at the tip of this chocolate chip, it then starts what they call sweating the quill. Now, the spinal cord stuff comes out of the spinal cord, out of the chocolate chip thingy, and it's everything that the lizard is. The lizard's whole body is dead. The little lizard thing is dead, and it can't go back in. Can't get it back in. It's one way. Once it excretes this stuff, sweats this quill thing, the person's debilitated for an unknown amount of time. I don't know how long. But when they come back, they have to have some recovery time. But when they come back, they are not the person anymore. They are then the lizard. Let me put this to you flatly. The old person's consciousness is gone. The body is absolutely, totally dominated, and the lizard is smarter as a human then, and totally controls everything. Over time, it'll develop a rash. It'll lose its hair. Thing is, these things are all over the place. and they mimic human behavior. In fact, one of their names in the past is Mimic.
Well, it's
Some
interesting
of their names,
because
Doppelganger.
when we look at, say, psychopathy, for example, the psychopathic mentality, psychopaths learn very early on in life to mimic proper human behavior because they know that they're very different from other people, and they learn how to mimic emotions and things like that. So it's a similar type of thing,
Well,
isn't it?
a lot of the people that you hear about in the news that are getting people and chopping them up in the basement and eating them and stuff, frying them up, these are what they call drones. They're parasited hosts of the lizards. They like to make them. The only thing a drone wants to do is make more, have sex, and torture someone. Like, uh, it's it's a different kind of mentality. It's hard to explain. When they at the cloning station, when they victimize someone, it gives them a powerful feeling, and it's the nerdy way, that nerdy aspect of it. Oh, I've got something over someone, but they do that to the extreme. Oh, and alien abductions. Let me tell you something. They videotape alien abductions. They set up alien abductions with Hollywood makeup and stuff. Like, not all of them. I can't say all of them. Some of them might be real for all I know. But I've seen the set. It's a really crappy looking saucer. You just walk up a ramp into it. They never see the outside of it. But they clone people, right? And then activate them when they're on the slab strapped down. Now someone goes in with a gray mask and the mask is made of chicken skin, okay? Just to give it that aspect of realism, dyed gray chicken skin, so it'll look real. And does it look real? Stretched over a mask, right? And they have the mask on. They go in and have sex with the people, and they videotape it and the people's faces to see their reactions and stuff. It's the government and celebrities doing this to people, because I'll tell you how the celebrities got into it. Back in the past, it was a political thing. They bring all the leaders of the countries in together, and they can all chat about stuff and enjoy this, sacrilegious, forbidden place, this cloning thing, and do whatever they can't do in real life. Well, they got real bored with each other because most of them are fat and ugly and bald and stuff. So they started bringing celebrities there. This is why JFK died, by the way, and Marilyn Monroe. JFK was going to talk about it, the cloning station. He didn't want to go. She didn't want to go. They had her there too. They said, we'll torture you at the cloning station if you talk about it. Anyway, yeah, that's like a big thing. That's why he died. Like, man. So anyways, it's not the fifth dimension. It's just the cloning station. And cloning station with your clone pre-injected with drugs. Yeah, the lizard thing. They just totally take them over. They do it a lot. It used to be, it's a Luciferian thing. They said that these lizards were the sons of Satan or whatever, Lucifer or whatever. They're not, though. They're just a species of lizard that survived the extinction of the dinosaurs by being way, way underground. I'll just tell you, I know it sounds retarded. The damn things can talk, okay? But they don't have a tongue. I'll tell you about their mouths. It takes a while. Basically, they have a blood spike, okay? This is what they call a chupacabra, too. They come up from underground, different spots all over the world, right? Like worms out of a rotten apple, different spots, and then they infiltrate the society there. But the drones today have erased, well, of 100 years ago, erased any existence of these real lizards from, like, Egyptian carvings on walls. They would smash them, right? Or books that had anything in them about them, they would burn them, because drones don't want to get found out and sent off and killed. Like, this is what I thought FEMA camps were for, rounding up drones, because they've been talking about it at the cloning center. This is where they discuss all political, worldly affairs. And they let me sit in, fly on the wall, because they figure nobody's going to ever believe me that they can clone anybody in. Everybody there is bored of it, the whole technology. It lost the novelty like 10 years ago, right? So they go there and they talk to Brad Pitt and let me tell you, all the celebrities, because they bring them there and they tell them, look, you're here, you're going to hang with us. If you don't want to, well, if they cry and make a fuss like Lauryn Hill from the Fugees, make a song about I Get Out and stuff, they let her not go to the cloning station. They don't activate her, let her have normal dreams. but other people, they really grill them to stay. And they say if you ever talk about it, you're gonna die. They made but the reason Britney Spears went pop. Do you want to know? Right now,
Well,
well, Britney Spears went whack because she watched too many murder videos at the cloning station. Okay, the cloning station is like a small sports venue, like a dog and pony show, right? It's got stands, seat about 400, 450, but there's different cloning stations in different deep underground bases. But all the celebrities go to an above ground one in a wildlife preserve somewhere, and it's just like an oval sports venue with underground stuff where they grow them and store them on racks 5 high, like bunk beds 5 high, stainless steel. So they go there and sit around and do crazy stuff, and they bring me there like they were bringing me there every night. Like I'll just tell you, it was like a victimization joke. Like they would torture me basically in many different ways to come up with a song, some kind of a song for someone, some kind of genre of music, anything. For a while there, they wouldn't stab me or anything. Well, in the clone, like I don't have scars on me. It's on the clones at this place, but they usually scrap the body same night anyway because it's so stabbed up. I've been through a lot there, and that's another reason why I want to expose these things. Oh, and also how the lizards kill people, right? I've witnessed the head wiggy thing go into the eye. They showed me. The thing is, the Illuminati are basically using me, okay, to expose these lizards in an eloquent way because none of them want to be the first person out so that they'll die. Like Bernie Mac he tried to start a mutiny there, saying we can't have this. We all got to shut this place down. This place is the devil, he said, and they tortured the shit out of him for example.
you can't swear on FCC regulated radio, by the way.
Okay, well, I thought maybe you could bleep that out or something.
Nope.
No time delay on this, eh?
No.
Yeah. Well, Nelly Furtado made a song about that anyway. Bleep on the radio, so she says it on the radio. So, I figured it was loud. Oh, anyway, so back to the lizards. The 3 different kinds. The third kind is the smartest, the biggest and the strongest and everything, and they pretty much lord over the other 2. There's different regions, though. They cannibalize on each other underground. Anyway, Queen Elizabeth is really in with these things, okay? Her family has been for a long time. Now, these bloodlines, all that they are super inbred people, okay? What the edicts of Lucifer, like my family are down with this stuff. That's why I don't talk to them anymore. Inbreeding makes you strong. Pedophilia keeps you young, and helping lizards gives you good luck or something from the devil and stuff. They used to do this thing, kill your firstborn son, and it gives you fortune in life or something. And it's pretty sick. So anyways, all that stuff is, not true, and they know it. They just keep it going for like some stupid club, like the Devil Club. Ooh, we're cool, we're evil. It's just, they're a bunch of, basically it's a bunch of really rich, fat, old people. They can't get laid, so they enslave people there to perv on them, right? Drug them, make them compliant through fear or drugs, and use them, because they'd have a hard time even paying a prostitute, really. Like, you ever see Kissinger?
As Kissinger said, power is the ultimate aphrodisiac.
Yeah, he's there. Met him as clones. I met a bunch of them as clones. They all wanted to meet the guy that made all these songs, and I don't even want to talk about the songs thing, because some people have said, oh, you just want to be known for making all these songs and stuff, and really, I just want to shut these people down, because everyone else, there's a bunch of celebrities there, and they're scared, like Whitney Houston. They killed Whitney Houston with an aneurysm just recently. Like, and then all the celebrities there said, okay, we're not going to have any more of us get killed this way. What happened with her, she wanted to leave show business entirely, didn't want to sing anymore, no concerts, didn't want to be on TV, and didn't want to attend the cloning station to be used as a sex slave. But in the beginning of her career, she basically sold her soul. That's what they all talk about, selling your soul to the Illuminati. You're selling your clone to be used by old freaks at the cloning center, or for an aspect slave. Yeah, they do that. You know how they cover up their one eye?
Oh yeah.
That means two things. That means watch out, you don't get the lizard to stick the thing in the eye, or like well, it means a couple different things to different people. It means like don't you only half see things, and I always figured it was the lizard in the eye thing because I get introduced.
I've seen so many artists in pictures of them doing the triangle around the eye sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like you do your thumbs and your index fingers together, and just look through and put your hands together and just look through them like that, and your other fingers sort of look like sun rays coming out, sort of thing. I've seen so many artists do that.
Well, the thing with the pyramid in the eye thing is the whole symbol is a joke. It's once you know what the pyramid is for, then you know when you're pretty much Illuminati. But I'm going to break that whole thing right now. I'm going to ruin it. You got to look on my page and look at the schematics for the pyramid. I explain what it's for. It was basically a vril trap. It's a giant cockroach trap for vrils. Okay, these little vents that went in, they were at an angle. They were lined with smooth limestone, and anything that went in didn't come out because these crab nasties claws, well, that's why I call them crab nasties, the vrils. I've been calling them that my whole life. They couldn't scramble back up and out. Yeah.
Well, we'll actually hold that thought about the crab nasties, and we'll be right back after the break at the VinnyEastwoodShow.com, ladies and gentlemen, with Donald Marshall. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vinny Eastwood Show, broadcasting live from the Chateau de Rothschild on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. We're talking about organized crime today. Indeed, the crime, the very nasty, particular scumbaggery element of human cloning with my very special guest, Donald Marshall. Welcome back.
Okay. So, these people, you heard about the celebrities selling their souls to the place, so that's what they're doing. They're selling themselves to be used as clones at the cloning center. Now the thing is, after a while, they have kids, and they want to bring their kids there too to induct them into the family, right? They just want to perv on them, and they're all too scared to say no, and they do bring their kids there, mess them all up, to keep them memory repressed and just mess with them, and then they do all kinds of stuff with different technologies that they have there. Like I'm trying to, like I know about a bunch of different technologies they have, and I wanted to tell everyone about it, but there's not enough time on your show to tell about all of it. So I'm trying to tell about the most important things: the cloning lizards. Oh, and the head chips. I didn't tell you about the head chips, but to the vrils, the three different types. The small ones they use to drone people. To host people, because the proboscis on young lizard type 1s, they're small enough to go into an eye and not ruin the eye, right? Because they're supposed to do this to animals with bigger eyeballs, probably freaking dinosaurs, but yeah.
Hey, speaking of type 1, I've had a request from Sonic, who's a radio show host with a type 1 radio lounge, and he wants to bring you on his show. Very soon. You'd be willing to do that, wouldn't you?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Well, I've already shared your contact details. It's sort of a misnomer. But anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
Excellent. So these lizards, it squiggles in. The thing takes over total domination, right? Old person dies, and it becomes a totally compliant slave, basically. Does whatever the people want it to do because it's just happy to live life as a human being now, right? It's totally coherent, and it knows that its life is dependent on it mimicking human behavior, so it does really well. Even with other animals, it's smart enough to instinctually mimic the animal's behavior, right? It incorporates that animal's brain to, I don't know, it just takes over in the worst way. It's a parasitic lizard. It's nasty. Now, the head chip thing, man, I know this is a lot. Like, I had to explain about all this stuff, my total disclosure and phases, because I didn't want to lump it all out in at one time for people, because it's
What,
way
you're
hard.
afraid they'd think you were crazy? I mean, it doesn't matter, man. I mean, like, as far as most people are concerned, you know, as soon as you opened your mouth, it's insanity. Whereas, I don't like to judge people like that after the first word that they say. I like to hear them
Yeah,
out. Okay.
yeah. Well, okay, a bunch of billionaires were scared about dying. They said they were so rich they can make people die, they can start wars, they can do anything in the material world, but once they die, they can't even take it with them. They're just dead, right? So a bunch of billionaires got together and said, we don't want to die. We want to figure out how to live again as clones, right? Thing is, they the clone is just like a negative copy of the person, though. So it's not even like the person living. It's a flawed copy.
Like a
So the
ghost.
thing is, what they do, they've devised a way. I don't know how. The thing used to be as big as a circuit board, like that was not an Illuminati symbol, by the way. It's like a
About the
square.
size of
Okay.
a fist, right?
Yeah, they tested this on a Chinese farmer. They showed me the video clips. Had it sticking out the guy's head and everything. Didn't compensate him, just sent him back home. Said they had to do something to him. They whittled it down so that the microchip is supposedly the size of like just a bit bigger than an apple seed, right? And it can it can totally, and it's a flawed copy as well, but not as flawed. It can totally hold your mental stuff, right? Everything that you are basically, but they need babysitters because they go pretty whack sometimes. They're missing some stuff. It's flawed. But the thing is, just like those lizards do with the eyeball thing and squiggling into the head, rich people can put their stuff on a microchip and set this into somebody's head and basically body snatch them that way as well. And they keep it secret because, of course, everyone. Oh, they can do it to clones too, but there's more side effects if you put it into a clone's brain. So they basically body snatch people with chips in the head. And the lizard thing, they tried to convince me that, and others, that it was a worldwide takeover thing, that they had already taken over so much that all was lost. You better just go along with it. But that's not true. They're a very, very small part of the population, like under 5% or something. But they drone people like beautiful women, and then have the drones marry these men, that whoever wants this woman, and they don't care that it's a lizard consciousness. They just do it, and it's still murdering the other person though. And it's pretty sick. So I had to tell the world, and yeah, I'm expecting to be killed. Really.
Well, hold on.
That
Can I just get clarification on something? Because you said that they can't kill you or they won't kill you or something like that before,
okay.
but now you're saying they probably will. I don't see the connection there.
Okay, I'll get to that part. That's the part that, even with the crazy sounding stuff that I've told you already, this is another crazy aspect of it. Okay. The thing is, with all the songs that I made at this place, and they were bringing me back every single night and saying, sing a song or we're going to torture you. Next night, sing a song, we're going to torture you. Sometimes I couldn't think of anything, and they would just like stab me and watch me bleed there. And now they're all watching like it's a bizarre Faces of Death thing. And different people want to know what it's like to stab someone, so they send them out to stab me while I'm on drugs so I won't hit them or something. It's like that. It's very sick. And, well, I have to tell you, Queen Elizabeth is there. Stephen Harper, Canadian Prime Minister. Obama is there. Vladimir Putin is there. The Pope is even there. All kinds of heads of different factions of different things. The head of the Mexican drug cartel is there. Mafia in Italy is there. Man, everybody is there. It's like the rich guy's crazy club that'll never get caught. And you have to be real privileged to go there. Well, I don't want to go there. And I'm not privileged there. I'm pretty low on the totem pole there, actually, probably the lowest. So anyway, they all threatened me never to talk about it, and along as I've been divulging this stuff on Facebook, they've been bringing me there and threatening me and stuff. And then asking me not to mention them specifically, what they've done there and stuff, and panicking really, and uh, trying to deter me with stabbing my clones there, burning the clones and everything. And I'm telling you, it's like real. It's clear as day. It's not like having a dream unless they drug you. If you're there, you're totally coherent, and you can't pinch yourself and wake up or slap yourself, or people would. And I don't know of a way to block this consciousness transfer to the clones. Otherwise, I would, like being in a tinfoil room or something. I don't I don't know if there is a way to block it. If there is, they haven't told me. But anyway, they're all there, and since I was a kid, they after I started making songs when I was about 5. By the time I was hitting about 8 years old, they were saying, I don't even want to say because it's over the top ridiculous, and I don't want to even endorse this stuff that they say, but they said it was possible that I could be the comeback Messiah for the end times to save the world. And I said, no, that's not true. I'm just a guy that's going to expose your lizards and your cloning, and you guys aren't going to bring me here anymore. And I got all the info when they thought that I was absolutely loyal to them, okay? For years, I acted loyal to them. I even had to almost give myself Stockholm Syndrome to make myself believe that I liked them because my family members were there. So my mother was there even. So, and they can give you sodium pentothal, truth serum, to see into your clone, to see if you will talk about them, if you're unmemory repressed or unrepressed memory, and you'll be able to remember all the clone stuff. But once you're unrepressed memory, you always remember everything. They can't keep your memory away from you then when they bring you there. So they only unrepress people that are real ironclad loyal. It also makes you smarter as a clone when you are unrepressed memory. So they wanted me to be unrepressed memory so I could think up better lyrics for songs, because they've given me adrenaline injections there. Like, I've never had that in real life, but they feel really good. They're adrenaline injections. And I've never done cocaine in real life, but they made me do cocaine there so I could do speed rappy stuff, because like Busta Rhymes type of stuff. So can't do that like just off the bat, but that stuff really speeds you up. It actually gave my clone a heart attack a couple times. But yeah, they're all like, we're so powerful, we're going to get caught doing this, no one's ever going to believe anyone. But that's because everyone else only had half of the story. After years of playing friends with them, they told me everything because they wanted to be really cool with me. They wanted me to like them because I made their favorite song, like the Top Gun theme song. Made that, right, when I'm there. And they're all the politicians want to be cool with me because the celebrities think that I'm amazing and stuff. And they think I'm amazing too, right? Coming up with a song out of thin air like that. I put a bunch of references in songs. Other people have in the past too, like back in the 80s, this band called Heart made this song called Dreams. These dreams go on when I close my eyes type. And it's talking about the cloning station when you're a clone there. But they tell people that it's the other dimension or astral plane, so that if they ever go to the police, they'll say, help, I'm going to the other dimension. And then that's not true, right? You want us to police another dimension, right? But it's not another dimension or the astral plane. It's just the cloning station, like the Brown something massacre, Brownsville massacre down in Texas somewhere. Well, that was all about them. The children of the fold got murdered, a big religious cult. They all got murdered and chopped up. Well, the fold was the cloning station, and they were going there and getting freaked on by a bunch of elderly rich perverts. And then they didn't want to anymore, and they said, leave us alone, we have computers, we're going to tell all about the fold. And they went there, killed them all. The Picton stuff was really unsettling or disturbing because, well, Elizabeth wanted to be real close on hand to me because everybody wanted to look at me, talk to me, and I was like focused on with the spotlight there at this place because I did these songs and different money-making ideas for different people. So she always wanted to be around me to get in on the spotlight. She's like that. She's like a camera ham for all the celebrities that are there. So she was always around me. Now, the thing is, she said to strengthen my mind, she wanted me to watch all of the Picton murders. And they had a camera in the corner of the room where he did these murders. The thing was, he would walk a woman, the hooker, over to a painting on the wall, facing that way, and say, "Do you like this painting? My brother painted it for me." Put his arm around the woman, and with his other hand, he'd reach in back of his pants and pull out a ball peen hammer and smack her right in the back of the head, and that was it. And he used to almost have to give her like 2 or 3 or something. And one time, one of the hookers got him. Tell you about that some other time or something. But he got them all. He said, I asked him one time at the cloning station, because they would bring him there and ask him what it was like and everything, and like he was a celebrity or something. It was weird, like, and they're all trying to act evil, like they're vampires or something. And he would talk and stuff. And I asked him, they asked me if I had any questions for him. I said, why a ball peen hammer? And he said, well, normal hammer has a claw in it, carpenter's hammer, and if I had to do a second strike, the claw might get hooked on somebody's clothing, one of the girls' clothing, and it might, when on my drawback, it might hook on, then he's ruined, because he was just a skinny old man. And yeah, but Elizabeth used to make me watch them. They have 2 big screens at the cloning station over the stands, one on either side, right, so that people in the stands can look both ways. Well, a lot of people can't watch them. A lot of people want to act evil so they'll feel safe there, because the more evil that you are, the more they're going to leave you alone. So there's people, man, they psych themselves into believing that they're evil too, just so that they'll feel safe, because they've seen these lizards and people getting tortured and killed, and they don't want any badness on them, so they try to act even more evil than the other people that are there. But yeah,
so how does this relate to you being afraid that they're going to kill you, but also saying that they can't?
Well, the thing with the can't, they said that well, a bunch of religious things around the world, including the Vatican, says there. Well, not all of the bishops are there. The Pope's like cronies, the Pope's cronies there. That not all of them are there, but they said that they think that I'm the next comeback Messiah guy. And as I said, I don't endorse these claims. And a bunch of super superstitious people said that if I get killed, that it's going to be the end of the world. And they translated that into saying that if I get killed, people are going to know that all the stuff I'm saying is real, and they're going to freak out and the world end faster. But I'm just trying to put it forward in a calm, concise way. Like, they do this lizard thing a lot, like in a lot of different countries. It's not just an isolated thing, and these things walk around all over the place. There is a way to detect them. It's you have to detect them with a CT scan or an MRI.
Okay.
See damage behind the eye and damage the frontal lobes of the brain.
Well,
And,
when they do CT scans on psychopaths, there's virtually zero brain activity kind of thing. Like it's all down here at the bottom base of the lower cortex, what they call the reptilian brain. Is that what you're talking about?
I didn't hear that, actually.
Okay. Well,
Never heard of that.
all right. We'll talk about this after the break at thevinnieeastwoodshow.com. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vinnie Eastwood Show. It's our final segment here with Donald Marshall. And I asked him, is there anything you don't like talking about, or something that scares you that you kind of avoid talking about? And he's already said it. So I don't know where exactly to take this from here. In terms of you being the only person who's really coming out and publicly speaking about this phenomenon. What exactly do you expect people to do?
Well, they're going to have to do something about it, because the thing is, sometimes these people, they get a pet lizard, one of their very own. Like Elizabeth's one is called Matilda, and Kissinger's one is called Herbert, right? And they occasionally get a hold of a real kid and bring it to the cloning station and feed a kid to one of these lizards. It's like Alf, the show Alf, runs around trying to eat cats and stuff. Everybody thinks it's cute. Well, these things, their favorite food is human kid, because it has less vaccinations in it. Because some vaccinations, after a certain age, will, if they drain the blood out of a thing, the real lizard will die from the vaccinations, or get real sick, or taste bad or something to them. So they get kids. They put them in a pit with this thing. Sometimes I've seen it there. They just showed me so much stuff flat out, thinking that I'd never be able to cohesively put it all together to tell people about it in a believable fashion, and that the technology of doing this is to advance for people to believe. But after seeing all that I've seen, I have to tell as many people as I can, because they kill people with these lizards, and I don't want to walk around in a world with those parasited human hosts in it. The thing is, what people have to do, it's going to have to be a military thing. Like, the military will have to perform a coup, because I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but Obama is down with the Vril. Okay? Vladimir Putin, he's down with them. They're all scared. Like, the Illuminati thing is a big united thing, but it's united through fear, basically, right? Because if one person comes out and says, "Oh, I'm going to tell," that person dies real quick, and then the other people look and go, "Ooh, I don't want to be the next one," right? But what they're saying about me, with the religious people there, and drones don't want to get X'd out either, so they're really harsh on people that talk about them. So they're saying that I'm the next New Age Jesus there, and I'm not endorsing this in any way, by the way. There's people on the internet that say this stuff, and they're not. They're just crazy people. And I'm not saying it either, but they all say it, and they said I'm in the Nostradamus prophecies and picture book. They said there's a picture of me in it, and that I'm going to save the world from something. And I'm just going to inform the world about the parasitical lizards that the government are letting people get droned, and sacrificing people to gods they don't even believe in, just so it'll be like some dark evil club that they can all belong to something, right? And it goes back pretty far, like long ways. Yeah, it explains on my wall a lot more. I pretty much said just about everything. I mean, I don't know. I was frantic when I wrote my original letter, because I didn't know how to explain everything. So I just stuck to the cloning aspect of everything, because I figured if I put lizards in it as well, people were going to go, whoa, change the channel. But so I pretty much told everybody in phases, just so that people wouldn't have too much to wrap their head around. But it's the most important stuff in the world, like chemtrails and MK Ultra and all that is done by them. And MK Ultra, you need a clone of the person to use MK Ultra on someone. Like, really quickly, I'll tell you basically an example of MK Ultra on a person. Okay, they get a woman, a beautiful woman. This guy wants this woman, but he's not as good looking as what she usually goes out with. So they clone the woman, and this kid is a rich man's kid. They clone the woman to the cloning station, put her in the center of the dirt ring. This is hockey boards with dirt in the middle, and surround her by a bunch of black girls. It turns out this is her biggest fear, getting beat up by a bunch of black people, a bunch of black girls. So the black girls will push her around. Girl, we're going to beat you up. And she's drugged. And anyway, the guy will come out after a little while. She'll be all scared. Guy will come out and say, "Hey, leave her alone." And he's a clone too. And he'll walk her clone out of the situation. They'll put this girl, when she sleeps, into different situations where she's in a life or death situation, and have this guy save her. Anyway, they've never met. Now, in real life, they can do this 16 different times, and just corny, straight out nerdy scenarios, they call them scenarios. Next time that girl sees that guy in real life, from the visual, she will be automatically predisposed to like this guy and think that she would be safe around this guy, and this guy's like a champion or whatever. Depends on whatever they program in. And it's basically that easy. That's programming right there. They can also do it with fear, so that I don't know, someone will fear someone the same way that they would be attracted, right? Be apprehensive around the person. It's just all kinds of different technologies that they have, and they found some stuff I'll tell you, it's written on the wall. It was an abandoned underground Atlantean base. They used to call themselves the Thule, Thule. Well, they had an abandoned base down there. They found all kinds of stuff, and they back engineered all kinds of stuff. And the Vril Society from Germany started doing it, and then the Americans took their stuff, and the Russians took some stuff too, and then they all started making stuff. Man, but I know about a lot of the stuff. They told me all about it, and I'm telling the world. But yeah, it's not good because other people have died.
Now, Donald,
For,
how did you actually get involved with this? Because you were telling about how it's like elite families and things like that who get involved. How did you get involved? What do your parents do?
well, my mother was I guess, a sex slave there when she was a little kid, which was a long time ago. And but they've been doing cloning like this since 1945. First with Mark I clones, then with Mark II clones with less flaws. Now, she basically
And tracing back, how did she get into it? Because what I found with CIA and a lot of other programs is that they have these bloodlines, these families that go all the way back. So you might not even have anybody who's particularly important today, but way back in the day they'll have an ancestor who was very important, and all their family subsequent have been enslaved. Is that kind of what happened?
yeah, it could be something like that. They haven't told me ancestry or anything, but the sex slaves they bring there, they call that Project Muffin. Like you hear about Project Bluebeam and stuff. Well, their clone sex slave thing is called Project Muffin. So I don't know why. And anyway, yeah, they my mother was there, brought her in as a sex slave, basically, and she basically gave permission, like other families do, to let them use me. But that was the reason I was there, solely to be used as like a molestation victim. But then I started busting out with these songs, and they just let me do the songs and different ideas for movies, catch lines in movies and stuff like that, and toy ideas and stuff. And yeah, I made a lot of good ideas, so they kept on bringing me back, and I'd come up with more ideas to keep them from bothering me. But little did I know, I was sealing my doom with them, really. Like, because then they started bringing me there every single night, and all these people wanted to meet me after I made a certain amount of songs. Thought that I had some kind of, like, super talents. So then all the richest people around, music producers and stuff, all went there wanting songs from me, too. It's free songs. I guess somebody gets paid, not me, though.
I've said for a long time that there's no creativity left in Hollywood, really. All they do is just steal other people's ideas.
Yep, well, they do that a lot, not even just with Hollywood. They clone people and get their passwords and stuff, and their business ideas under torture. And the person the next day won't remember what happened at all, just will think they didn't have a dream last night, and they feel sick the next day. They have no recall of it at all unless they want them to. And yeah, but I'm telling all about it. Like, some of the things I've seen done there, man. Wow. Oh, and at the Picton farm, you didn't feed all the hookers to the pigs. Some high-profile RCMP, Canadian Mounted Police, and judges and doctors and everything. Some of them are Luciferians, and they wanted to know what human tasted like. So they went to Picton's farm and had a bite to eat and barbecue out in the big warehouse pig farm thing. Just barbecue right out in the middle and fried up a couple hookers. And one of the choicest parts, I guess. And yeah, they ate some of them. They got rid of that house real quick. Like, it's too bad they didn't. They would have seen the screw holes in the corner of the room, the kill room. Man, it's bad. One of his things after he would, well, I know that the cloning center that I go to, the one above ground for the rich people, they like the above ground ones because the underground dumps smell like hospital, right? The cloning center is within 5 hours drive by car in a radius around the Picton farm, because they would speed drive these murder videos from the Picton farm to the cloning station to be watched by everyone at this cloning station. And I remember being there and waiting because they said bring another video from the farm, and I timed it, and I even asked them what time it was, like kept on asking what time it was because they thought that's what I was doing, like guesstimating the distance. But in a radius of 5 hours around the picnic farms where it is. So there's a lot of land in that, though, but it's most likely in a nature preserve because all that's around this stadium thing is trees. There's no smoke on the horizon, even no air traffic, no nothing. So I pretty much think it's probably a nature preserve somewhere in Canada. Anyway, the vending machines at the place take Canadian change. So
Okay, well, let's leave it there because unfortunately we've run out of time. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to hear more from Donald Marshall and have a look at his post, facebook.com/donald.marshall.148. That's donald.marshall.148 and vrilllizards.webs.com. Thanks, Donald. We'll see you again sometime, folks.
Thank you.
Go on.
Well, if you remember, FDR had the Civilian Conservation Corps, and some of the things that we could be looking forward to under the oversight of the Corporation for National and Community Service to make sure that all Americans participate by 2016. We could see the expansion of national service programs to public schools to coerce younger generations to serve their community as part of national patriotism. Create an education corps to oversee public schools and encourage national service. Devise a summer of service program to engage youth in participating in national service events and keep them nationalized. Enroll all participants in a government-sponsored health insurance program to assist in healthcare with professionals and caseworkers in servicing their communities. Revive FDR's Civilian Conservation Corps under a Green Corps initiative to improve infrastructure and combat climate change as a national issue. Create a Rapid Response Corps to assist the National Guard during disasters regarding preparedness and emergencies with FEMA's help. And create a National Service Academy that would educate American youth on Federalist ideals with a focus on expanding the philosophy that national service is a national problem, a national issue, and we all need to have a sense of...
Whoa. National service is a national problem and a national issue, just like human issues are human problems and human issues. I mean,
exactly.
It's a circular argument because it's a circular argument.
Well, they want to make sure that communitarianism is the point. And if you...
I've made myself immune to the fear for some reason. Maybe it's a bad idea. Maybe I should be very afraid, very, very afraid, and stop thinking and start talking in a very deep, raspy voice.
No, I think I agree with you. I do that on my show. This is so ridiculous. They've become a cartoon of themselves. Come on, people. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, but if we
have a good time.
Yeah, but if we masquerade it as ridiculous and we're having a laugh about it, then people might not take it seriously. This is deadly freaking serious. We could literally be exterminated in the streets by these thugs wearing little jackets.
That's true. But that's why not only do we inform ourselves, but then we take the next step, which is what you and I talk about all the time. Do something about this. Act upon it. Get the information and do something.
Okay. So we're fulfilling our role, which is to provide the information. It's not our responsibility to do something about it or provide solutions, really, is it? We're just the media. We've got to keep, feeding out more stuff every day. This is why media reporters and everything are just airheads and douchebags, because they never actually apply any of the stuff that they do. In this movement, on the other hand, we are so overwhelmed by the amount of scumbaggery coming in over the clickers and news wires and what have you, that we literally can't do anything. It's not that we don't want to. It's that we've got more news and more stuff to put out even after we put out this bunch of news and information here. And it's you, the people listening to this broadcast, that actually need to get the frack out there and do something about it. Okay? If you have a spare 30 minutes in your day, we don't. You've got to get the hell out there and do something, man. Right now.
Well, that's why you and I put together the Real Guerrilla Media, because we have a section for activists and event planners. And if there's somebody in your city or your town and you want to make sure that your event has some, foothold on it, you serve your country when you're able-bodied between 18 and 25, then you are patriotic.
Okay, so if you go out there and you create a business and you wind up employing people and you help out your community through donations or community charity trusts and things of that nature, that's not good. But if you join some kind of a modern day Hitler Youth, that is good.
Yes, exactly. Well, we're trying. Barack Obama is trying to have a communist dictatorship, a fascist regime here.
The Obama Youth. I can hear the goose stepping now.
Now, last year, the FEMA Corps released 231 graduates that works in community relations and disaster recovery all across the nation. They also work to educate local communities for the sake of public-private partnerships to network and structure those communities to serve the needs of the federal government. So we've got our own little guys out there, those little feelers, telling everybody what to do, and the government's good.
You know, I heard this on a broadcast a while back that these little green Nazi youth kind of thing, like walking around slashing people's tires that have SUVs or something like that, or busting out the windows of companies that they don't like, that they perceive are really bad for the climate and things like that. Just this little jackbooted thug brigade, really, just going around bossing everybody around. With are they going to be armed?
I assume that they would be armed. They do have training exercises. In fact, DHS, when they ordered those 240 rounds of hollow point bullets, which was not 21.6 million, they went to a training center that there's actually 5 of them across the nation here. And it's DHS training all of the...
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of the Vinnie Eastwood Show. You know what occurs to me, ladies and gentlemen, is I need to repeat, and be angry in order to get more listeners. No, seriously. You have a look at every single really popular talk radio show host that's in this movement. They repeat themselves all the time, and they're all really angry. I'm never going to be popular. I've come to terms with that today, because I like to have fun and laugh in the face of utter scumbaggery. As does my very special guest, the indomitable, the intractable, and the incomparable, Susanne Posel from Occupy Corporatism. Welcome back to the show.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Now, we're only going to have you for one segment here, then we're going to get to our guest for today. So, what is the news today from Occupy Corporatism?
Well, H.R. 748 here in the United States requires all young Americans to enlist in a national service program. Yay, communism! House Representative Charles Rangel has introduced H.R. 748. Now, just to be fair, he does repeatedly introduce bills like this. This would require all persons between the ages of 18 and 25 to perform national service, either federal, state, or local government programs, community-based agencies, or community-based entities. And this would be that wonderful little national program for the civilian army that our communist-in-chief, Barack Obama, wanted back in 2009.
Go.
The police officers, how to shoot actual military-grade weaponry and kill people. So I assume that they would also be using some sort of target practice.
Right. Who's the target then?
Well, DHS has been buying targets of pregnant women and children and elderly, so I guess there you go.
Okay. That's understandable. If I was a psychopathic murdering scumbag!
Right?
Oh, no. Oh, man, this is really bad news. Is anybody out there trying to, perhaps, I don't know, start up a counter movement to this, like the National Volunteer Youth or something like that, where they go out kind of like as gangs, like in West Side Story, you know, we're going to have a fight in
I would love to see that. No, I don't think so, but that would make for great 6 o'clock news. Somebody do that, please.
Some kind of a really cheesy gang warfare style thing, you know, it would be fantastic. Or somebody like the like Bill Hicks's references hooligans, you know, wearing penny loafers with no socks.
Or they could wear shorts with like knee socks with the stripes on them.
You know, we're really just making fun of this whole situation, and this is what comes up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, be afraid, be very afraid. Buy my DVDs and survival food products and water filters and such. Okay, there we go. There's a much better way of doing it. Okay. I don't know how to actually present serious information anymore because I've made I don't know, Suzanne. I think I've just